Ever wondered how people get perfect straight lines on script worked on purity seals? They cheat. This is a Micron pen. It's by a company called Sakura, and it's I believe it's waterproof, which is fairly important. And the most important thing about this Micron pen is it's 0.1. So it's a 1mm nib. You want the tiniest nib you can find, and I believe the 0.1 is the smallest you can actually get. In shops you normally find the 0.5 and the 0.8 readily available, but the one that you want is the 0.1. I'm going to go and draw on the purity seal and show you how that goes. You can see it's very easy to do. There we go. Script's done. Okay, so that finishes the purity seal off now, and we'll go on to the next thing. Okay, back again. Now we're actually going to be applying the decals to the miniature, so I'm going to show you all the tools that I'll be using to do that. First of all, down here we've got a decal sheet, and I've actually cut out 3 decals to actually use on this miniature, so we'll zoom in on those. The light's blocking the ultramarine symbols there, but one's a skull, an ultramarine symbol, and a symbol for the second company. Tweezers to hold the decals as they're soaking, and to help apply them to the miniature. And I also want to show you how I cut the decals out. You can see how tightly I cut the decals out. I want to get as close as I can to the transfer without actually destroying the design of the decal itself. So use a hobby knife and take your time, be very careful, and try and cut as close to the design as you possibly can. I've got a saucer here with just normal tap water. I'll be soaking the decal in the tap water, and then I'll be applying micro set to the areas that the decal will sit on. It acts like an adhesive. It's like the same form of adhesive that's on the actual transfer itself, but applying this just helps the decal sit down on the miniature and stay on there way better than if you was not using the solution there. A microsol, in some cases you won't need it, like on the miniature. Let's get him into shot. Possibly I might not need to use that on the shin area there, but I probably will need to use the microsol on the shoulder pad area. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and apply those decals. The last decal that goes there will be straightforward, so we'll just apply the 2 on camera, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've had the decal, which you can see here. The camera's probably not going to focus on it, but it's been soaking for about 40 seconds in normal tap water. It's ready to be applied to the shoulder pad area, and as you've seen in the previous videos, this has been gloss varnished and it's been left to harden overnight. So we're going to be applying this, but before I apply it on, I'm going to add some micro set to the shoulder pad area. I'm dipping my paintbrush into the micro set, and I'm going to be placing this directly onto the miniature. There we go. Now I'm just going to change the shape of that around a little, because we want it to look symmetrical. We don't want it to look lopsided. That's not too bad. I think I'll go with that. Now as you can see, even with a micro set down there, it's not sitting perfectly. To get that to sit down better, I'm going to have to use some microsol. So I'm going to use that now. Because I didn't completely flood the decal onto the miniature there, it's still fairly dry, so now I'm going to add the micro sol. Now you have to be careful as you apply the micro sol. I'll angle this. If you apply it too hard, you're going to make the decal slide around, so I'm just gently dabbing that on there, and see it just moved down a little there. It will make the decal swim around a little, and you haven't got much time once this goes on to get it to the right way if you do move it, because it starts to melt the decal. As we can see there, it's in a fairly good place. I might just touch it over there a bit and pop it up a tiny bit. There we go. I don't think that needs no more moving there. Now you can see that the decal's all wrinkled up. Don't worry about that at all. What will happen as it starts to dry out, it'll actually shrink down onto the painted mini there, so it's not going to affect the overall look when it's dried. So we're going to leave that to dry, and I'll show you the results once all the fluid and the micro sol has done its job of flattening down the decal. But I'll see what I can do. Yeah, normally I wouldn't get it way off like that. Let's try and hold it and see if we can spin that around a bit. Again, I applied the micro set there, and whoops, got that out of shot. That's sitting pretty much perfect. I'm just gonna tap it down a little if I can. That's a bit too much. It's a case of just playing with it. As long as you've got the micro set on there, you've got a good. Sorry about this, guys. I'm gonna zoom out. Keep it in shot easier. Dancing with the camera, you've got a little while to play with it. Actually, I think I like it higher. See, should have left it in the first place. Okay, now I'm going to paint the tactical symbol here. And it's going to be painted white, and there's a lot of people out there that struggle with white, and I'm going to try and go over how I get the white nice and flat without it seeing any brush marks, or very few anyway, at least. Start with Stonewall Grey, Vallejo Game Colour, painted on very thin. Then we're going to go from that to Wolf Grey, and then we're going to go from Wolf Grey to dead white. So I'm going to try and paint it on camera. As you can see, it's going on nice and thin, but it will look patchy at first, but that's to be expected. And what I want to do is let this dry, and when it's dried, we're going to go over and give it another coat, exactly the same colour, until the colour's a nice solid colour. Let's try and angle it in a minute, and you'll see it's patchy. Now there we go. That's to be expected, and that's what you want. If you had a solid block of colour in the first pass, your colour's too thick, and then it'll look, you won't have a nice finish. It'll look blobby, and you'll have big thick brush marks on there. So to actually see the colour underneath, it's actually a good thing at that stage. You know that you're thinning the paint, so you might need another 2 coats of the Stonewall grey there, or your equivalent grey, which is quite a light grey. So yeah, I'm going to carry on with that until it's flat and I'll come back. Ever wondered how people get perfect straight lines on script worked on purity seals? They cheat. This is a Micron pen. It's by a company called Sakura, and it's I believe it's waterproof, which is fairly important. And the most important thing about this Micron pen is it's 0.1. So it's a 1mm nib. You want the tiniest nib you can find, and I believe the 0.1 is the smallest you can actually get. In shops you normally find the 0.5 and the 0.8 readily available, but the one that you want is the 0.1. I'm going to go and draw on the purity seal and show you how that goes. You can see it's very easy to do. There we go, script's done. Okay, so that finishes the purity seal off now, and we'll go on to the next thing. Okay, it's a fairly flat colour now using the Stonewall grey. I'm going to carry on and start applying the Space Wolf grey paint, which is here, and the Vallejo is called the Wolf grey, and I'm going to apply it in exactly the same way over 2 or 3 really thin layers, just to build up a nice even colour. So I'm going to do that off camera, and exactly as you see me apply that coat of paint there, we're going to do exactly the same with the Wolf grey, very thin in about 2 or 3 layers to get a nice flat even colour. Okay, I'm going to do the part of the miniature that I've been dreading for a while now, and it's painting the eyes on camera. I'm going to start with the gory red base, and I'm going to try my hardest to not block the shot of me painting the eye, and show you how we do that. So it's going to be a gory red base, building up from that with blood red and fiery orange. So back in a sec. Okay, here goes nothing, guys. I'm going to flip it to the side and embrace the miniature and paint it from this side. Sorry, I'm just going to wet my brush again. Normally I wouldn't struggle nowhere near as much as this, but excuses I can hear you saying, but no, I've got a camera right over my face, so I'm struggling to focus. There we go, that's that. I'm going to let that dry, and then going to hit the front quarter or front third of the lens with blood red. So I'm going to come back with that. Okay, I'm back with the blood red now, and we're going to paint towards the front of the eye there, just the front of the eye. I'm going to roll my brush a bit actually. Remember in one of my earlier videos I said roll the brush on your palette to try and get a nice fine tip. I'm just going to put a tad more on there. Yeah, that should do. Right, I'm going to come back with some fiery orange. Okay, I'm just going to hit the very corner of the lens there with the fiery orange. I think that'll do. I might try and put a tiny bit more. That'll do. You can carry on going there. You can add a bald moon yellow or any yellow to the orange mix and put that right at the tip. But for this miniature, we're only going to take it this far. All that's left to do now is put one tiny little drop in the back of the lens there. So I'm going to go and get the white, and we're going to do that. Okay, back again, and now I'm going to turn him this side, and I'm going to try and put a dot just in the back of his lens there. Paint's dried up while I tried to gear it up to record, sorry about that. Let's try that again, shall we? Les and Alexandra and General Splatten and Nataku and all those guys, they make this look so easy. It's not. Okay, here we go. Da 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 da. Oh, it's not where I exactly wanted it, but no, that's a bit of a fail really. I wanted that a little bit over. I'm going to sort that out off camera. Basically, you want a little white round dot at the back corner of the eye. Now, as I say, it's not that hard doing it. If you take your time, thin your paints, make sure the brush is not loaded, and just take your time. I mean, doing it with a camera in your face it's going to hinder anyone, but as you can see, the best technique I find is bracing the miniature against a solid inanimate object, because it's not going anywhere. Your hand's holding it there, and then your other hand is braced against that, so when you actually go to paint it, you can't move anywhere, so it's going to hit the right spot. Well, although I just didn't, but you should get it to hit the right spot. Okay, I'm going to sort that out. I'm going to paint the other lens, and I'm going to show you what it looks like.